Both Chainlink and VeChain are primed for huge moves in the coming weeks. The entire cryptocurrency market has been in a bit of a lull recently. However, it's looking to start recovering soon. And who are going to be the biggest gainers? In my opinion, Chainlink and VeChain have some super exciting bullish momentum building. In today's video, we're going to look at both Chainlink and VeChain news, as well as conduct some Chainlink and VeChain chart analysis to give you accurate predictions of what is coming in the coming weeks and coming months for these altcoins. Guys, hello and welcome to the House of Crypto. I make videos on Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as other altcoins. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way in to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in the cryptocurrency market. So first of all, I want to draw your attention over to CoinGecko.com so we can look at the entire cryptocurrency market, what's been happening, and who the biggest movers have been. And particularly around these times, many people are getting kind of upset, but this is the time when actually you should be looking quite excited to find those opportunities to be able to buy coins that maybe were quite expensive a few weeks ago at a bit more of a discounted price. Now, what we tend to look at is if we look at the top 100, we can tend to take a look at maybe the last sort of 7 days or so and see who has taken the biggest moves. And particularly because we've been moving down, apart from the last 24 hours, we've seen a bit of a resurgence. We can look at the kind of coins that maybe have taken a bit of a dip and then see a bit of a bounce back. So as we see, XSushi was down 22%, but in the last 24 hours has recovered 8%. Same again with Sushi, down 18.9% and recovered nearly 9%. So what's very key to look at, guys, is when these coins maybe take a bit of a correction, actually it can give us quite a good opportunity to maybe jump in. Obviously, when they're like in the top 100, they're fairly sort of substantial projects that have good momentum. However, maybe have just experienced a bit of a sell-off, as we have seen as well from Bitcoin and Ethereum, because the altcoins tend to react a bit harder when those two major cryptocurrencies take a plunge. So jumping first into Chainlink. So as we can see on Chainlink, currently up 2.2% in the last 24 hours. But what we've seen in the last 14 days is about 15% drop in the price. As the rest of the cryptocurrency market has dropped, obviously Chainlink has reacted to as well. We've got a market cap of around 10 billion, which in terms of how the sort of crypto space works, obviously is reasonably high, but there's obviously still a significant amount of room to grow. So we're currently still not at all-time highs, which is key to look at. And we've got, a decent trading volume here of over $1 billion in 24-hour period. Now, what's happening with Chainlink? Okay, so what is Chainlink? Chainlink is a decentralized network of nodes that provide data and information from off-blockchain sources to on-blockchain smart contracts via oracles. And I want to give you an example and discuss another potential example of how things like this can be used. Okay, so they give us an example here. To understand the benefits of Chainlink and how it functions, you need to understand some fundamentals, interconnected concepts. Let's start with smart contracts. Okay, smart contracts are pre-specified agreements on the blockchain that evaluate information and automatically execute when certain conditions are met. So for example, they give an example here of crowdfunding. Okay, so if you wanted to raise some money for a specific task or specific charity, for example, if a certain amount of Ether is deposited into the contract by a certain date, then the payment will be released to the fundraiser. And if it is not, then the payment will be returned to donors. Because smart contracts exist on the blockchain, they are immutable. For example, they can't be changed, and verifiable, guaranteed a high level of trust among parties that they accurately reflect the stated parameters of the agreement and will execute if and only if those parameters are met. Now, another great example of how this could be utilized, if you were trying to raise funds for business, etc., often, companies are kind of put off by putting down money into a company if they're not sure that company is going to be able to raise the full amount. So if a company is trying to raise, say, $100 million and you want to put in $10 million, then actually you could potentially lose your $10 million if the rest of the $90 million is not put in. So actually this really helps kind of startups, etc., get off the ground, because it actually takes away a bit of fear factor for those investors who might be interested in investing, because once you kind of put your money in, then actually you haven't got to worry whether the rest of that money is going to arrive or not, because you can always get that money returned to you out of the control of the guys trying to raise the funds. And an example at the moment, I've got a friend running a business who has a big problem with this, where he's trying to raise money for his business, but many companies who are interested in investing in him won't give him the money until other companies provide money to get involved. So it's a bit of a catch-22 in that no one is interested in investing until someone else invests, you see. So it's quite a complex situation, but Chainlink solves this problem. So Chainlink is a really solid, valuable product, and the more it gets learned about, the more it kind of gets put out there, we can see that it's going to have some good growth. And we're going to jump over to this piece of news on Cointelegraph. 3 key Chainlink price metrics signal Link is gathering strength. Chainlink is down 30% from its all-time high, but on-chain and derivatives indicators show that it is increasing interest from investors. So jumping back to what I said before, obviously when coins and things take a bit of a dip, often it kind of puts people off, and people seem to be always looking at like the top gainers, and then they're jumping into those. Actually, the ones that are kind of up in the top 10, top 20 that are taking a bit of a dip actually are very solid, in my opinion, very solid investments. Also, go away and do your own research to be sure that you're making good decisions with your hard-earned money. So jumping across then to the Chainlink charts. Now, what I want to draw your attention to, this is on the 4-hour Chainlink chart. We saw back on February the 20th, so over a month ago now, where we hit this all-time high, and this is probably when Ethereum, Bitcoin were kind of like coming to the end of that large pump before this sort of down trace, and Link is actually looking very solid indeed, right? It's come into this pattern and it's playing out at the moment, and actually what we can see is it's taken a very considerable bounce off of this line of support. Which probably happened, so 4 hours, probably happened about 24 hours ago. We came down and we tested this sort of $23 level. Okay, so as it stands, it's looking very unlikely that we're going to see a break to the downside, and we're going to see further consolidation along into this pattern. And seeing as we've seen good levels of support 1, 2, 3, now even 4 times, it's actually looking extremely likely that we'll see a push towards this upside. And what we like to see is if we do break, we'll probably see a bit of resistance here. But if we are to break here, we'll probably come up to this level. You can see where we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches before having a bit of a retrace, retesting this line of support and pushing all the way to the upside. Now, in the short term, what would our price target be? Obviously, we take the biggest height of the triangle here, and we then move that over to where we potentially would break out, which is probably, let's say, roughly around here. And that will take us to $42. Now, in terms of a price increase, as it stands, we're looking at $25. Obviously, that at the timing of making this video, and that would see us push all the way up to a 63% gain. And we've seen markets move very quickly. If this is to break out, which could come in the next sort of day or 2 days, I think obviously the rest of the crypto market will move as well, which will perhaps dictate how this moves. But if we see this breakout, then we can be pushing towards this all-time high level around $42. And what does that mean? As we know, once we kind of get beyond these kind of high levels, then we tend to be in sort of price discovery. And as price discovery goes, that can be a really exciting opportunity. And in my opinion, I'm looking at a Link towards the end of the year of $100, which I don't think is an outrageous claim. Even if we were going to be conservative and say $50, you're still looking at, nearly 100%, well, in fact, 100% gain on the current price, which is, pretty awesome in terms of a sort of a safe bet. But the likes of Link, VeChain, these are really solid projects, which is starting to be utilized and have real world value. Okay, there's a lot of coins and stuff that are sort of still speculation, and although they're kind of like seemingly very exciting projects, maybe not actually put into use yet. Okay, so Link has a real world need and lots of interest building around it. Let me know what you think below. If you hold Link, what's your kind of like potential target price for this year? Okay, jumping on to the next one then, which is VeChain, another favorite of mine. Okay, so over here on CoinGecko again, VeChain currently down 0.5% today. The market cap at $5.4 billion and a trading volume of $1 billion. Okay, so that's actually really high considering that, it's basically 20% of the entire market cap being traded within 24 hours. Okay, so we've got high volume, etc. Tends to mean that, people are interested in this. It has a lot of things going on. In this case, as we've seen, unlike Chainlink, this has actually been continuing to build while the rest of the market has been struggling in the last sort of 7 to 14 days, taking a bit of a dip in the last sort of couple of hours. However, being sort of slowly consolidating and moving. And as we see from 1 year ago, we've seen a sort of a 26x on the price. However, still very, very cheap at around 8.4 cents. Now, what I want to jump over to is what VeChain is. Okay, so VeChain is a blockchain platform designed to enhance supply chain management and business processes. Its goal is to streamline the processes and information flow for complex supply chains through the use of distribution ledger technology. Okay, so this is huge in that it is used in things like e-commerce. Okay, so e-commerce is massive at the moment. I'm sure you're very aware, but particularly this is playing a very big part in places like China. I was actually on a call earlier with a friend of mine in China who is working for a huge distribution company. Another friend of mine works for Walmart China. These companies all use VeChain. They're all investing huge amounts of money to compete with the likes of Amazon. Amazon itself has its own blockchain protocol which it uses, but all these other companies are looking to VeChain, which is the first 5-star cryptocurrency. So yeah, huge project, huge promise in the way that the world is moving towards e-commerce, and it's only going to continue to grow as things happen. And that's one thing that we want to consider. Many prices get kind of pushed, and you can see them kind of, people jump into them on the popularity of what's going on. For example, Dogecoin. Okay, you know, Elon Musk pumped Dogecoin and Wall Street bets, etc., and it went flying. That's actually not very sustainable usually. Okay, things like VeChain has actually been moving parabolically, but that's only because it's getting more and more utilized, more and more used around the world, and that, as an investor, is something that is really, really attractive. If you hold VeChain, you can also stake it, which means you get a bit of a reward in VeThor token, and this is also, it's kind of like VeThor is basically paying for the gas fees, but also being is a deflationary asset, and has seen huge increases, something like 65x in the past year. So actually, just by holding VeChain, you're getting more VeChain, but also getting VeThor as a kind of a bonus as well. Another thing that's obviously very current, and okay, we're dipping back a couple of months to this news, but I want to draw your attention to it, is the COVID-19 vaccination records stored on VeChain as use cases grow. Obviously, everyone knows what COVID has been this year and last year, and the more and news like this brings this more and more into people's knowledge. VeChain is used by companies like Walmart China, is used by BMW. There's a huge amount of really well-known companies that are using VeChain's technology. Okay, just to finish off then, I want to draw your attention to the VeChain charts. This is on the 4-hour chart again. And yeah, since back in pretty much Christmas Day, we've seen this sort of steady rise from around 1.2 cents, and we've gone up pretty much our current price is around 8x from there, which is obviously a significant rise. However, you can see that this is a much steadier rise than we've perhaps seen with many of the other cryptocurrencies, as I was talking about, due to perhaps building use case rather than just loads of hype about this particular project. And what we're seeing here, and want to draw your attention to, is this bullish flag pattern, which appears to be developing, where we've come off the top and we've seen this sort of slow drop that we've seen, with many other cryptocurrencies. And we've taken a big bounce off the 100 moving average here, 100 period moving average. And what's looking like at the moment is we're likely going to be pushing up to this level. It'll be interesting to see whether we can break through this level and continue to play out this pattern, or we might see another trace down before retesting and pushing up. Now, in terms of how we work out targets for this, as it appears to be, this is a bit of a bullish flag. So we tend to take the pole, and then we push we take our flagpole and move it all the way up to a potential breakout point. Now, obviously, that this is a kind of a rough point because we haven't arrived at potential breakout position. And as we saw with Chainlink, we would like to see it break out, retest the top of this, and then move all the way up to there. Now, as you can see, that would take us all the way up to pretty much 15 cents. So at the current price, which is around 8.30, let's just roughly go down towards there, 8.30, that would be a rise of 75%. And in terms of how long that can take, this last move, actually was from, what, 28th of February, where it's around 3 cents. It already pretty much 2.5x'd in the last month, and perhaps 3x all the way up to this all-time high before taking this little retest. Okay, so actually what we're seeing at the moment is a really healthy move, and this is a really exciting opportunity in my opinion, because we've seen with such a good project going forward, and there's so much potential, and actually what we're getting now is a bit of a discounted price, whereas perhaps if we were to go back 3 or 4 days, we were going to be looking at a price that's 20% higher than it is now. Guys, let me know what your opinion on VeChain and Chainlink is in the description below. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that like, because it helps me to deliver this content to more people by helping the YouTube algorithm. And the more people that know about these cryptocurrencies, the more people getting involved in the game, and ultimately the better it is for us as crypto holders. I'm going to leave a link to the end of this video for an update on Zilliqa, which is one of my favorite kind of smaller cap altcoins, which has huge potential in the coming weeks, and can see potentially a 250%, maybe even a 750% gain in the coming year. Guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.